Hello and welcome to my January recommendations. This month is historical fictions, and I must say I was actually a bit intimidated by this because I don't feel like I read a lot of historical fiction novels, but I'm gonna do my best anyway. The monthly recommendations group was created by Trina and Kayla. I'll leave both the links down below and also the Goodreads group so you can join us because it's actually really fun, and it's especially fun to watch other people's recommendations because you just kind of want to read all the books then. But I have 3 recommendations for you. The first recommendations is The Infernal Devices by Cassandra Clare. This is the 3rd book in the trilogy, and I hadn't even considered this until I saw, I think it was Kayla's video, until I saw Kayla's video, because she mentioned The Infernal Devices as a historical fiction, and I was like, yes, then I'm gonna steal that recommendations and recommend it to you as well, because I love this trilogy. These are definitely my favorite books by Cassandra Clare, and I really want to reread them again. I think I read them a couple of times and I just love them. So you probably already know like a bit what they're about. They are set in the late 1800s, and it's about Tessa who comes to London and she's kidnapped and then saved by a shadow hunter named Will Herondale, who has a parabatai called Jim Carstairs. And these 3 are like the main characters, and then there are a lot of other characters as well, because you know Cassandra Clare, she loves to write a lot of characters. But yeah, a lot of things unfold in these books and I couldn't recommend them anymore. The next book I want to recommend is How Huge the Night by Heather and Lydia Munn. This is the Danish version, which is in Danish called Stor er verden, sort er natten. And I really enjoyed this book, and it has a lovely cover as well. And this is about Julian, who has to move with his parents and his little sister down south in France because they lived in Paris and then they had to move down south in 1939 because of the war and to be in safety. And they have a visitor, or like a house guest, called Benjamin, who is the same age as Julian, and he's a German Jew. Well, he's born in Germany but has lived like most of his life in France, and he is there because his parents are afraid that something might happen to him and that he is more safe there. So it's about them trying to fit into this place and constantly having the threat of war over their heads, and about France surrendering, and it's just really good. And the last book I want to recommend to you is also a World War II book, and it is The Nightingale by Kristen Hanna. And I read this in the end of 2016. Was it in November? I think it was in November or December. I don't really remember, but I loved it. It was definitely worth a read. In some ways it's kind of like How Huge the Night, because it is also set in France and it also starts in 1939, but it's a very different story. It is about 2 sisters and their different ways of fighting against the war and fighting against the Nazis. And it is heartbreaking, and it's definitely a lot rougher to read than How Huge the Night. Like How Huge the Night would be like more like young adult, whereas The Nightingale is more adult, as in if you are not comfortable with like torture and stuff like that, maybe you shouldn't read The Nightingale, because it is really rough sometimes and it's also really heartbreaking. But if you want to see a representation of what the war must have been like for especially women during the war in France, then I would definitely recommend it because it was amazing. I cried several times throughout it, and I don't even know how to do words anymore because I can't explain just how much it stuck with me and how much and how often I think about it, like out of the blue. There's just like a thought that pops into my mind, and yeah, I would definitely recommend it. So those were the recommendations I wanted to give for this month. It's not a lot, but I really love these books, so I hope that if you haven't read them, you will love them and pick them up. And if you have read them, I hope that you agree with me that those are great books. And yeah, that was all. I hope I'll see you next time. Bye bye.